Hey, folks, this is Phil from Alabama Hot Sauce. That's alabamahotsauce.com on the web. I'm here today in my small experiment kitchen area to talk a little bit about a subject that I am contacted about over and over and over, and that is the KimTem or the A03, A04 style manual hot sauce bottle fillers. Constantly, I receive emails saying, my machine's hard to clean. It drips. I can't get it to work. It doesn't seal off. And I'm telling you, folks, every one of those problems are solved with simple, routine maintenance and cleaning. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to do that maintenance and cleaning. These machines are for sale in literally dozens of places. It is my experience that regardless of which one you buy, they are all made by a few small, possibly just 2 or 3 manufacturers in China. The internal parts for every one of them are the same. Some of them have a little needle on the side to help you adjust how much you dispense it to the bottom. Others have the little screws down here to adjust it. But in any event, these machines are all the same. When used properly, when cleaned properly, when inspected properly after each use, these things will last for literally tens and tens and tens of thousands of bottles. Now, this morning, I had just filled bottles and was doing my regular routine maintenance to clean my machine. And after I did that, I thought, this would be a good time to show people who use this machine, who might be interested in buying one of these machines, even customers who are interested in how things are done on the inside of sauce business. This little video could be of interest to a whole lot of people. I'm going to show you the steps that I go through at the end of a filling day with this machine to clean and sanitize it. Now, I want to point out a couple of things. If you look up here on this machine, my machine is going to look different than most people's machine. The reason being, this has been modified to make it just slightly easier to take apart. Most of those machines, you take them apart by removing 4 little Allen screws here, and then you lift all this assembly off together. This machine is made up of the funnel, and from your pasteurization container, whatever that happens to be. In this slyer room, I use a double boiler. This pasteurization container, you pour in hot sauce, you pull a lever, which activates a plunger in this charging area. It pushes the sauce out. It opens a little seat inside this tube, and it allows the sauce to flow out into your hot sauce bottle, okay? It's just as simple as that. Now, that being said, since there are a few things brown out in here, they have to be cleaned and maintained properly. Now, everyone who begins to work in a commercial kitchen should already have a bucket which contains their sanitation solution, whatever that happens to be. Some people use chlorine and water. Some people use quaternary solution and water. I use a quaternary solution that comes in tablet form. I drop 2 little tablets in there for each gallon I'm going to draw. And every morning when I begin work, I draw 3 gallons of cleaning fluid. So, as you're filling bottles, you eventually reach the point where you've put the last sauce you can get out of this machine. Your pasteurization container is empty. There's no more sauce to pour in the barrel. You've exhausted everything that's in the funnel. Your machine is empty, so you fill the last bottle you're going to get out of this batch. Now you immediately jump into cleaning, and we're going to set a clean this machine, but as a side component, we're going to help our pasteurization container. So what we do is I move the pasteurization container right down over here. Now, inside it, we've got sauce on the edges. But the thing that's most critical to me is that more than likely on the bottom of this container, there's a little bit of scorched or burned sauce. It's still red right now because this thing is, up until just a second ago, had sauce in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to clean my machine, and at the same time, I'm going to help get that stuff off the bottom. Now, the first step in cleaning the machine is I go into my sanitation container, and I dip out and pour into the funnel about 10 cups of the sanitation fluid. Now, remember, this charging chamber's got the residue of hot sauce in it. So once I pour those in there, I'm going to start pulling the lever and draining out that solution I just poured in. Now, if I had just actually finished filling with each pull of the lever, the stuff that would come out would be a mixture of hot sauce and this cleaning solution. So it would be very red. So I just pour this over and over. And what I'm doing is I'm cycling cleaning solution down through the same process steps that I was using when I filled the bottle. Okay? And I pull, I pull, I pull. Now, of course, this stuff's going to look dirty and ugly because it's going to have sauce and everything else in it. And I then dump it in my pasteurization container. What that does is it puts this foaming sanitation and cleaning fluid in there on top of anything that might have been burned down to the bottom, which is the most critical place in the pot. And so it helps to start softening that. So not only are we cleaning the machine, but we are getting some benefit from our pasteurization container. So we go back, we keep pulling, and as you can see, it looks like we're starting to run out of fluid here. So I continue to pull. And of course, I pour it over here. The more we pull this lever, the clearer, or in my case, the bluer, since my solution has dye in it, the clearer the stuff that comes out of it will look. Now, you eventually reach a point where you've cleaned it all out of there. And by the way, you may have to dump more solution in there. Just 2 cups might not work. You may have to dump a third one or a fourth one. But whatever it takes, you got to continue to activate this machine until the fluid that comes out of it runs perfectly clear. Okay? Now, what you've done is you've washed out the vast majority of the hot sauce that was in the charging chamber and in the dispensing valve, and you put some solution in your pasteurization machine so that it can start to soften up anything that burns at the bottom. Now, we immediately, after this, move into the removal of our funnel. Now, remember, on most of these machines, you'll have a little Allen wrench. You'll remove 4 little Allen bolts, and you'll just lift this whole thing up. What I actually do is I remove 2 clamps. And when I do, I'm able to lift my funnel as a separate piece and my charging chamber, okay? Now, both my funnel and my charging chamber have little gaskets, so I remove mine in 2 pieces. What this does is, just like your machine or any other machine that does not have this modification, it exposes this charging valve. So when you pull down inside that charging chamber, sauce is constantly running down in here and backing up to a little seat I'm going to show you. And so when you pull this down through the charging chamber, that pressure forces this seat open and the sauce goes into the bottle. So we need to clean all this up so everything looks good. Now, I also fill up a little bottle with my cleaning solution, a little spray bottle, so I can come up here and clean everything that's visible to me here. Okay? So I clean my charging piston. By the way, you never clean this with anything that's abrasive. I clean all these surfaces I can see and get it all ready to go. And now I'm ready to remove my valve assembly. So I unscrew this cap. I take a little pair of kitchen tweezers. I pull out the spring, and I pull out this plunger. Now, inside this chamber, there is a hole which is sealed by this little O-ring here. Matter of fact, let's see if we can show that. This little O-ring here seals inside a hole in this chamber, and it is held in place, pushed down into the seat by this spring. Once pressure is applied by pulling the lever, it pushes this open, and it allows the hot sauce to flow into this filling tube and down out through a hole down here in the bottom, okay? So I've got these two things out. One of the first things I want to do is I want to look under the edge of this O-ring and make sure there's no particles trapped there. Make sure it's clean, and I see that it is. So I put it aside. I look at my spring to make sure there are no cuts on it. There are none, so I'm ready to go. Now, at this point, we need to actually clean these surfaces. The first one I'm going to do is I'm going to spray lots of fluid in here, and then I'm going to take a nylon brush, never a metal brush in this case, a nylon brush, and I'm going to clean this chamber. Okay? And what that does is just make sure there's no particles of sauce or seeds or anything such as that that is trapped inside that charging chamber. Okay? Now, I take a smaller brush. This one, again, is going to be nylon. And I clean the dispersing tube, okay? And I run that up and down in there a lot. And I make sure that dispersing tube is clean. I then wipe the O-ring face for this little cap off. And I'm ready to move to the top. Now, when I clean the top, I have a wire brush. There's a little hole that goes from here into that filling chamber. So I want to come in here and use that brush and clean that hole really, really good. I've got another brush that's bent because in the bottom of this chamber, it's just a flat area. And I go in here and I brush off anything that's accumulated on that flat area, okay? Now, while I'm at it, we got the inside of the machine clean. I feel pretty comfortable about that. We're going to take a towel. This will undoubtedly be splashed with little drops of hot sauce that come from everywhere. Hot sauce gets on everything when you're filling. And I wipe the machine off really good so that it looks like it did just the day I purchased it. And then I'm ready to go. Now, when you pull your funnel off of your machine, you have to proceed to clean this the way you would any other stainless steel container or dish that you use in processing food. You need to put this through whatever is your 3-sink process for your kitchen. In our case, we use a automatic dishwasher that has a sanitizer cycle. So all of our dishes are not only washed, but they are rinsed in 185-degree water. So I use a different process for this. Now, you come back in after you've cleaned your machine. Now, in my case, remember, I'm putting these things on a piece at a time. You would slip your entire funnel and your charging chamber on at once. Like so. Now, while I put on 2 clamps, you would screw in your 4-Allen screws, and you would tighten them against the gasket that was under there when you pulled your funnel off, okay? Now, these things, since they have gaskets, they don't have to be tightened a lot. They simply have to be tightened. And there we go. We got it ready. Now, I take one more step that not many do. I'm going to have to step out of the screen just a minute. Over top of my clean machine, I put a sanitary barrel liner. So I come in on the machine, and once it's been sanitized, I put that barrel liner on. I then go in here and insert my spring. I tighten it down. And my machine is ready until the next sauce I go to fill. I do this so A, I will know it has been sanitized. B, nothing will get into the machine while it sits here on the table. Now, before I begin to fill the next sauce, I remove this bag. I will tell you, I still put 2 containers full of this cleaner in it and cycle it through the machine again, even though it's been sanitized. In addition to that, I put 2 containers full of distilled water, and I run it through there to make sure the cleaning solution's out. I then dispose of the first bottle that I fill when I begin putting sauce in there, and there I go. Folks, if you will clean and maintain this machine, if you will restore it every single time you use it to the condition it was in when you bought it, this machine will last you literally ages. I have probably filled 25,000 bottles with mine. Every bottle that I make in a batch that's smaller than 40 liters is made here, and I fill it with this machine. If I happen to make a batch that's bigger than 40 liters, I pasteurize that in a double kettle out in the kitchen, and I fill it with a hydraulic machine. But many, many batches I make, I fill right here with this machine. But anyway, that's how you handle the A02, A03, A04, KimTem manual bottle fillers. Folks, if you do this, I'm telling you, this machine will give you great service. It won't leak. You won't have difficulties with it. And you'll learn to love this machine instead of, unfortunately, what many do, which is despise their manual filler. Folks, thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, whether you are using one of these machines, a hot sauce maker, one of my customers, just one of my regular viewers, or somebody that just was attracted by the picture of it on the thumbnail, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you'd give me a thumbs up. In addition, subscribe to my channel and then ring that bell so YouTube will know to notify you each time I release a brand new video. Again, I want to thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Hey folks, this is Phil from Alabama Hot Sauce. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've left a couple of suggestions for you on the screen of other videos I think you might enjoy. In addition to that, I'd appreciate it if you'd punch that little bell there and subscribe to my channel. Also, I love comments. I want to hear what you thought about this video. And thank you again for joining me.